Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. On the Sword Coast, your allies will help with blades and bows and magic as well. Hey, hey, heroes on their way. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get you all out there. Idle champions, you will set again. Idle champions. From Waterdeep to Icewind Dale, head out to Chull or Shadowfell, hey, hey. Together we stay. Walk to the monsters, walk to the boss, walk to the right, it's never a loss, hey, hey. Bad guys to slay. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get you all out there. Idle champions, you will set again. Idle champions.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another edition of Gaarawarr's Guide, the tutorial show. I'm Gaarawarr, and joining me today in the producer's chair is Martin. Martin's going to be grabbing stuff from chat, questions, your questions specifically, from Twitch chat, and you know, handling all the backstage stuff and the chat stuff all at the same time, because they're cool like that. Today's topic is going to be Gaarawarr's Guide to the 2022 Champions, Part 3. That's a lot of numbers. What does that mean? It means we're looking at the champions that came out in the last 3 months, roughly. So, June, July, and August. I always got to do that in my head. January, February, March, that was Part 1. April, May, June, that was Part 2. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. July, August, September. I don't know. July, August, September. See, this is why I always have to do it. I can't trust myself to just do it in my head. I got to say it out loud. Something like that. Basically, we're going to cover everything because, I mean, there's technically a champion that's going to come out like at the end of the month, but we're going to count that towards the next one. Because the last one will be October, November, December, and we're just going to roll. We're going to roll Egbert up in that. So yeah. So we got 4 champions to cover today. We're going to be talking about the 4 you see on the screen. Dab, Nahara, Voronika, and Valentine. And now I'm like, do we have that scheduled yet? What's the one? Okay, yeah. Because next weekend, we're going to cover Egbert along with High Harvestide Year 6, so we're good. All right. So here's the way this works for those of you, some of you are new. Welcome. For any of you who haven't been to one of these before, the first hour-ish, depends on how long it takes me to get through stuff, is going to be me talking about these 4 champions. The second hour is going to be me answering questions that came from chat. So that doesn't mean you can't ask questions in the first hour. You totally can. Just put question : like, look down below. It's even on the screen. Put question : like that. That actually makes it so that it highlights for for our producer Martin. For the Martin, I was supposed to say that's not how that works. The Martin in chat. It's going to highlight and make it easier for them to see, and they'll know, hey, this is a question for Gar and not just a comment or a question for chat. So do that, please. And then I will get to it in the second half of the show. All right, so we're going to dive right in. Yeah, the Martin, the one and only. Yeah. All right. I'm just going to go in bench order here. This isn't necessarily in release order. We're going to talk about Voronika first. Voronika comes to us from the Black Dice Society. She's an Eladrin druid. Chaotic evil. Support champion, which is, overwhelm numbers. You're only going to see these usually be higher than 5 usually for tanks. So support champion, pure support, nothing else. Base attack is a magical attack. You can tell by this little icon here. So it's going to be produce flame. Voronika creates a flame in her hand, which she fires at a random enemy. So as you can see, yep, just random firing. Now, the interesting thing about Voronika, or Nika for short, is their very first level 0 ability. What is a level 0 ability? This means it's just active all the time. Even before you level them up, this is going to be something that's activated. So after being killed on her wedding night, Nika became a ghost. Nika continues to attack and can be attacked like normal. But they're a ghost. So they count as dead, folks. They count as dead. Why does that matter? Well, there are champion effects in the game that trigger off of dead things. Desmond over here in slot 4, also a member of the Black Dice Society, has an ability called Lament the Lost. Oh, we didn't get there yet. Got to go through the specializations. Don't mind me. Just leveling up Desmond things. Lament the Lost. They increase the damage of all champions by a large amount, stacking multiplicatively for each slot in the formation that contains a dead champion or is taken up by an escort character or object. So this means that no matter what, if you've got Voronika in with Desmond, you're getting one dead champion, which is fantastic because it's not like they're actually dead. They're mostly dead. That's nice. So Voronika works great with Desmond, and anybody else who has mostly dead issues. Calculating guidance. So this is their first actual upgrade ability. Voronika increases the damage of all champions in the column in front of her by 100% for each champion in the formation that is either a member of the Black Dice Society or evil. This stacks additively until Voronika completes her search for the crown, when it changes to stack multiplicatively. That's the good way. So it starts off as kind of a, yeah, it's okay. And then if you have if you're either running a Black Dice Society formation or you're running a lot of evil people, then it's like, okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, we can't beat Strahd with this formation. This isn't a real formation. So let's back up a level so everybody doesn't fall over. Okay, and we'll take all this off so that we see people's animations. Yay for animations. Let me just throw some levels into people. There we go. Okay. So Voronika, clearly this is kind of her formation building cue. Voronika's gonna be best if you either have Black Dice Society or evil people, and you have to do something called Search for the Crown, which isn't explained here. We'll get to that. To really unlock her power. It's worth it, folks. It's worth doing the Search for the Crown. So this is your formation queue. Also, it's in the column in front of her for each champion, blah, blah, blah. So this means you want Voronika right behind whoever your DPS is. So if we have Nahara DPS, which, hey, she is, you would want Voronika right behind. You want Voronika right behind, in the column behind. So as you can see, the little, we have, since that's the only current directional ability, you get the nice little green arrows that point it out. So those are your formation building cues, folks. Here we go. Search for the Crown. So it comes in a little bit later. Voronika's Search for the Crown of the Raven Queen requires her to complete 3 goals. When Voronika completes all 3 goals, she acquires the crown, transforms into her Dark Lord form, unlocks her ultimate attack, and improves her base attack. So a lot of things happen. So she changes her form. Unlocks her ultimate, so this is how you get, you don't just get her ultimate by upgrading to a certain point. You have to actually do whatever this Search for the Crown is, because even though this is the ability, still doesn't tell you what it is. And improves her base attack, so this base attack gonna get better. That's neat. She's a support. Does she need a better base attack? I don't know. She gets one anyway. All right, so if you want to know how to search for the crown, folks, you actually have to come over here to formation buffs. This is a thing that happens sometimes in this game where they tell you something over here, but they don't actually give you an ability, and then they don't actually tell you what it is or how it works. Luck of Yandala, I'm looking at you. But Search for the Crown here is also another one. So if we come over here, we'll see Search for the Crown. It gives us the same basic information, but then it gives us the actual goals. So we have to defeat 2,000 enemies with her inner circle champion in the formation. We don't know what that is yet. We're about to find out. Voronika has to reach level 750, so you have to level her up to 750 at minimum to qualify for this goal. And then use 50 ultimate attacks with other champions. Okay. That's not that much. So that's how you search for the crown. So you are to get the crown, you're gonna have to get to at least area 750, or level 750, excuse me, level 750 on Voronika. Thinking of ramping champions. Yeah. Everything else you potentially can do along the way. So inner circle. What's the inner circle? Well, that's her first specialization path. So. Inner circle, we get to choose a champion to add to her inner circle. She's going to pick 3 at random from people who qualify for the adventure or variant you are in. So what happens when you pick them? They gain the Black Dice Society affiliation membership if they don't have it already. That's fantastic. So basically, remember, she works better if you have Black Dice Society members in. So you could be running a full Black Dice Society member. Your 3 inner circle could be completely random, like these, that are not Black Dice Society. And you add them, and hey, you get another Black Dice Society member. And remember, she has an ability that gets better based off the number of Black Dice Society or evil people in. Now, Archon's already evil. These 2 are not, so we would, I mean, if you want Archon, and Archon doesn't really work here, you could go with one of these. We already have somebody from slot 12 in Dob, so I'm just going to go ahead and pick Dungeon Masters. This isn't normally how I would do this. Usually you're looking for some kind of functionality, and we'll get to that as we keep going, because it doesn't really tell you what bonuses you might get for this until later. So I'm going to pick Dungeon Master. Now we can see Dungeon Master now has these roses around his icon, around his profile picture. This means he's Voronika's choice. He's now part of Voronika's inner circle. Now you won't see anything change about the affiliation here, but Voronika will now count that as another Black Dice Society member. So if we go over here, calculating guidance, now up to 4. Now up to 4 for Black Dice Society / Evil. Whereas if we take Dungeon Master out, back down to 3, right? So that's what we're looking at. We're going to leave Dungeon Master in. You know what? We're going to level Dungeon Master up. Because Dungeon Master has this fun little ultimate reset ability. And we need to pop a bunch of ultimates over and over and over again. Oh, I did that out of order. My bad. But it's fine. We're going to spam ultimates for a while, and we're going to try to get 50 ultimates off for Vornika's Search for the Crown. But we're in no hurry. It'll happen eventually. It'll happen eventually. We're just going to hide Dungeon Master right there. All right. So we now have the Inner Circle Champion chosen. But what does that do? What does that do? We don't know yet. We don't know yet. Ultimate power, next ability. Vornika increases the effect of calculating guidance. Remember, that's this first one. For each, by an amount, which varies, for each use of an ultimate skill, while she is in the formation, stacking additively but applied multiplicatively, it caps at 1 EO6 stacks. Folks, that's a million. That's a million. That's a million ultimates. These stacks persist until reset. So this is just during this run. This is not forever. For those of you who are like, oh, I don't want to have to fire off a million ultimates, you don't have to. You don't have to. That isn't why they made this. That isn't why they put the cap this high. It wasn't a goal. There are going to be people who are like, here, hold my root beer, and go after this. But they were like, well, we should probably cap this. Let's cap it at a really high number so that there is a cap, so we don't actually break Nika, but it's going to be real high up there, and no, you don't have to worry about that. You really don't have to worry about that. You get a lot of power out of it early on. I'm at 1. I've got 214, but remember, we're going to be firing off a lot more ultimates. I only have a couple people in this formation. It's going to take a little while. You don't have to try to shoot for a million stacks of that. There are people who try and probably hit there, but not super necessary, folks. Not super necessary. Just keep that in mind. In this case, it's not a goal to try to reach. And then we don't have a lot of upgrades anywhere else. Now, we are now past 750. If we go look at Search for the Crown, we have completed. We have completed the Search for the Crown. Fantastic. All right, we still have to get a lot more ultimates to fire off. Can't help it. I gotta click on the things now. But what are we doing with that Inner Circle Champion? Well, the second specialization takes care of that. So we can either assist the puppet, their puppet, or dispose of the fool, because puppets are always fools, folks. Vornika's Inner Circle Champion, if we assist the puppet, gets increases depending on the champion's roles. Champions with multiple roles get all the benefits. So depending on their role, and this could be, are they a support, are they a DPS, etc., etc. They're going to get some bonuses. If they have multiple roles, they'll get multiple bonuses. So it's really nice. I mean, you can't choose who your puppet is, other than, I mean, not really, but you get a choice of one of those 3. You can't truly choose who it is, but if you get lucky and they are somebody who has multiple tags, like multiple roles, they're going to have multiple bonuses. And that's real nice. So, what happens, here's what we get. Support, if they have a support tag, it doesn't say this in-game unless you actually have the tag, so I have this in my guide on the subreddit. Support increases the effects of champions' positional formation abilities. So, if they are a support champion that has positional formation abilities, those abilities get boosted. If they're a DPS, they get calculating guidance applied to them at all times. So no matter where they are in the formation. However, if they're in the right place in the formation, in the correct column, they get it twice. It's a little bit of a bonus, but not huge. And then tanking champions, if they are a tanking champion, so nothing for speed or gold or healing. If they're a tanking champion, they get their overwhelm value increased by 10, so they become sort of tankier. sort of tankier. Now, but this only matters if you're going to keep them in your formation. I mean, you're going to keep them in the formation while you're searching for the crown. But if this is a champion that fits in your formation, you might want to keep them in the formation and have those bonuses applying all the time. In which case, you would choose Assist the Puppet. However, if this is a champion that is not going to be part of your final formation, when she reaches her final form, you're going to dispose of them and throw them back on the bench. Then you want to pick Dispose of the Fool. So after she receives her Dark Lord form, she increases the effect of Calculating Guidance by 100% while her Inner Circle champion is not part of the formation. So she's going to double Calculating Guidance, which is effectively what was happening if that person was the DPS anyway, right? You just don't get any of the like potential support abilities or any of that. She's gonna double her Calculating Guidance. So we're not gonna keep Dungeon Master in after she gets the crown. So we're just gonna go ahead and dispose of the Fool. I mean, Dungeon Master's no fool, but in this context, Dungeon Master is indeed the fool. That's everything for Nika, folks. That's everything for Nika. We're gonna come back to Nika. See, I wanted to do Nika first because we have to search for the crown. We're gonna come back to Nika when she gets her crown, and we will talk about. We've got a lot of kills to go, and not that many ultimates to go, but a lot of kills. So we will come back to Nika. We'll talk about her ultimate. We'll talk about what changed about Nika once she finds her crown. But real quick, she gets a pair of increased damage all champions items. We get a Calculating Guidance item. We get an ultimate power item. And I've got the ultimate, I just need to not open any chests ever. I have like the perfect number for our evil Nika. Ultimate attack damage and ultimate cooldown reduction. Feat-wise, damage all champions. This feat is kind of neat. Rhymes. This was kind of one of the few feats in the game that actually changes an ability up. It may be the only one at the moment. So this changes Calculating Guidance to target the next 2 columns. Now, Calculating Guidance, this is a formation building thing. So she can, if you can't put her right behind the DPS, you can put this in and it extends it to 2 columns. But this is also good because Calculating Guidance is a positional formation ability. And this means that you can extend it over multiple columns and thus a lot more people, which is something Artemis likes. Artemis likes observing off of lots of DPS. So if you can do this off of lots of DPS, this becomes nicer. So this is potentially a nice feat if you need to use her or want to use her with Artemis in Trary. We get some Calculating Guidance feats. We get an Ultimate Power feat. We also get an Intelligence feat. This does qualify her for Strahd in and of itself. So if you just want to use her in Strahd with no one else, here you go. There is another way to bring her into Strahd formations that we're going to talk about next. Hey, folks, say hello to Nahara. Nahara also comes to us from the Black Dice Society. It's almost like they're stacking the deck with Black Dice Society right now. A reborn Aasimar. That means she died once, and now she's back. Warlock Bard, a chaotic neutral. She's a DPS and speed champion, which is an interesting combination. Her DPS attack, her base attack is magic. Again, that magic icon. Witch Bolt. That bolt. Nahara attacks a random enemy and every enemy that she already hit with a bolt of energy. This is the first of its kind basic attack functionality. We've never had this in the game before Nahara arrived. So what does this mean? This means because Nahara attacks a random enemy. We're killing everything off real quickly. Maybe we'll try to move forward past Strahd. I don't think we can. But this will demonstrate. Because she attacks random enemies, that's nice. But if you have a lot of them built up on your tanks, you're not getting a whole lot done, right? One enemy at a time. But when she attacks one and then changes her target to another, she also attacks the first one again. So as you can see, right now we're attacking all 3 Strahds, even though she technically starts out with a single target base attack. She then becomes multi-target. So however many enemies there are on the screen, if she has attacked them once, she's going to attack a random enemy after that. And eventually, if you're not killing them all instantly, she could potentially, because the limit for normal enemies on the screen is 100, she could potentially be attacking 100 enemies at once, regardless of their position on the screen. You might have a damage problem if you're getting that far, but that's what that's referring to. So she builds up the ability to attack more and more and more and more enemies. Hey, we killed one of the Strahds. As she goes. Now, it is random, so it's not going to always switch to a new enemy, which is why we killed one of the Strahds off first. So just keep that in mind. But she is going to get more and more attacks and kill more and more things. And hey, there we go. Did it break? It probably broke. It totally broke. How did I break it? Oh well. But yeah, it is problematic if you are getting up to attacking that many enemies. You need more damage. You need more damage. All right. Let's go into abilities. Hey, look, there's another level 0 ability. Nahara is eligible to start in all Strahd patron adventures, even if variant restrictions would say otherwise. This is a little bit of a mini Dungeon Master. Dungeon Master has a level 0 ability that says Dungeon Master is eligible to start in all adventures. That means, now the key word here is start. That means you can put Nahara into every Strahd adventure. Now, if something happens in that adventure based off the adventure's rules that boots Nahara out after you've started, so sorry. See you later. That's just the way it is. But this means Nahara can run in every Strahd adventure, or variant, basically, as a patron, regardless of restrictions. So her stats don't matter for Strahd, specifically for Strahd. Are we not killing them this time? Oh, wow. I really broke this. I wonder what's breaking this. It's real bad. It happens. It happens. We'll just kill Strahd over and over again. Okay, who am I? The first updated ability, upgrade ability. Nahara recovers a bit of her lost memory as she adventures. If Nahara is in the formation when you complete an area for the first time, she gets a % damage bonus, a small %, stacking additively. These bonuses persist through resets. So this is that persists through resets means this is a permanent stacking ability. So this will stack up forever and ever and ever. Right now I'm at 421,329 lost memory fragments. Well, at this point in leveling up, it's an EO5 ability, but that'll go up when I hit soft cap. So it's just a nice one of those stacking features that you can get forever and ever and ever. And ever and ever and ever. It's just going to add a little bit. Now, there is obviously going to be diminishing returns after a period of time. I think in my guide for Nahara, I made a comment about like where one of the breakoffs is. Did I? I did not. Oh yeah, I did. So a reference. So in my notes, I put a reference that if you have like 7,813 stacks, it's an EO5 bonus at soft cap with no gear or feats, which gives you a reference that if you want to make it go up to EO6, you're going to have to add a 0 on the end of that number, right? Because the orders of magnitude are just going to go up pretty much straight there. So 78,000 for EO6, 780,000 for EO7, 7.8 million for EO8, right? So it's going to take a lot more. You get a good bonus right around 8,000 stacks. Anything above that is nice. It's an extra, but it's going to take a lot of investment to get a lot more bonus, right? To amuse or avenge, when Nahara attacks and defeats at least one enemy, she gets a levity stack with a maximum of 30 stacks. When she attacks and doesn't defeat an enemy, she loses a levity stack. So Nahara gets a percent damage bonus. I don't say these numbers because they're based off things like gear and whatnot. So it's just a percent damage bonus for each levity stack she has below 30. So if she's not killing, she gets a damage bonus. And at the start of each area, she reduces the area requirements by 2% for each levity stack above 15. This is her speed ability. So that means she can reduce area requirements. If she's at 30, she can reduce area requirements by 30%. So this is a way, just straight up, that she can help you progress faster through areas because you don't have to kill or collect as many things. But it's a nice little swap ability. So it's like it's kind of like Deacon. As long as you're killing things quickly, you're moving quickly. But then when you stop, you slow down to a halt. So her speed ability turns off. Her speed ability turns off as you stop killing quickly. Another speed ability like hers would be Sentries, but Sentries is always on as long as she's not being hit. Strong Society, Nahara gets a 400% damage bonus for each other Black Dice Society affiliation member in the formation, stacking multiplicatively. So Nahara wants lots of Black Dice Society. She wants to run in a full Black Dice Society group. As you can see, I've only got 3 members at the moment. Shouldn't I have 4? Shouldn't Dungeon Master count? And I'm getting an EO4 bonus. EO4 bonus. So, she likes to have all of her friends with her. We broke it again, folks. I don't know what to say other than for some reason it's the 0. But yeah, I think she's supposed to jump out and do something, and it's not triggering the animation for some reason. There's a lot of reasons that could be. I am on an interesting build. Okay, specialization paths. A grave experience, a Barovian bond, or a skilled liar. See what they did there. Let's talk about the first and last, and then we'll come back to the middle one. A grave experience, the Who Am I counter increments 3 times for every area cleared. So if you want to run up her permanent stack numbers, you take a grave experience. So if you throw her into, let's say your gem farming group, you're going to want to run a grave. You might want to run a grave experience because maybe you want to give up speed. Like the skilled liar gives a little bonus speed. Maybe you want to give up the bonus speed for ramping up her permanent stacks. However, if you're just looking for speed and you don't care about ramping up her permanent stacks, like where I am right now, I don't know. I mean, she has lots of stacks. I don't know that I need to build more. Whatever. So I could just go a skilled liar. This is the area reduction to Amuse Revenge is increased by 50%. So normally that would cap out at 30% reduction in the number of things that you have to complete for your quest. Well, this would take it to 45%. That's a lot. You could combine this with like Sentry and Human and be just flying through stages, right? So keep that in mind. A Barovian bond is the interesting one, and honestly, it's one of the things that I played with a Barovian bond a lot on stream on my channel on Monday. It's one of the things that basically makes Nahara and the Black Dice Society a must-have group to collect when you want to do Strahd stuff. Strong Society, for a Barovian bond, Strong Society gets a 400% increase, and Black Dice Society members can be used if Strahd is currently the patron, even if they do not qualify for the other variant requirements. This means in a super restrictive patron Strahd variant, you can always bring Nahara in, and since you can always bring Nahara in, you can choose Barovian bond and bring all of her friends. All of them. They're all going to qualify immediately. So you in every Strahd patron variant, you could run Black Dice Society formations. Period. That's it. And it's a solid group. It's a solid group, folks. It's a solid group. Is it the best group in the game? No, but it's real good. It's real good. And if you get a dead person right off the bat, If you can throw in any other dead people, or if there's escorts in those variants, Desmond just does tons of work. It's pretty fantastic. I've been using it for a lot of the in-game variants lately. And it's almost not fair. It's almost not fair, the difference between running Strahd stuff. Strahd was pretty restrictive because intelligence is hard to come by in Champions. Strahd was pretty restrictive, but now it's like, hey, here's a whole group that was built to work together. Here's a whole group that was built to work together. Yes, Trontonian. Strahd's show of strength. Strahd had traditionally had some of the most restrictive variants in the game, and variants that just like there was a variant where only like 2 people qualified for Strahd, and I got by it with Mahen, who has a different kind of feature to bring in his daughters, but Nahara's just like, you think that's good? Look at what I can do, and just brings in a whole entire group. So right now, we wouldn't pick a Barovian Bond because we don't need to. Everybody qualifies. This isn't a variant. So I could pick one of these others. I'm just going to run a Grave Experience. Let's level up. And we're going to have to back up because we have not... Wait, hold on. I'm going to check for her requirements. We have fulfilled one of the requirements for her search for the crown. That's going to be the ultimates, right? Yep. Okay, so we have done all the ultimate attacks. We've done... we've reached level 750. We just need to kill more enemies. So I'm going to take this off. I'm going to try this, folks. I'm going to try this one more time. I'm going to try to pass this stage one more time. And then we'll just go back and sit on the other level. All right. Ultimate ability unlocked, and that's it. Okay, yeah. Good. Yeah, we're good. So, ultimate ability, Form of Dread. Nahara takes off into the air and channels the power of her patron, Aslan Rex, for 15 seconds. Can you stop that, please? Her damage is increased by 1,000% while in this form, and any enemy she hits has a 50% chance of being stunned for 2 seconds. So this is a damage. This is a high. Let's turn on all the damage button. All right, here we go. That's what she looks like. She's got these flaming wings and this spinning something or other going on behind her. And for 15 seconds, she gets lots of extra damage and a chance to stun. So that's nice. This is, if you're using Nahara as DPS, you kind of you want to make sure you're hitting this for the hard fights. If you're super deep pushing, you just put a familiar on it, right? Because that's what, it still didn't work. All right. Yeah, Irina's animation trigger isn't happening. She's supposed to jump up on the last Strahd and like stab him in the back, and then that completes the level. Submit a ticket for it, folks. I guess maybe I'm seeing somebody in chat say they've been running into it too. Submit a ticket. That's not supposed to happen, so something funky happened and that animation broke. And that's an important, literally, that's a ticket that I would put, game breaking can't progress. Sean's going to hate me for saying that, but Towering Expectations is the required adventure for unlocking Patron Strahd. So you literally can't progress and unlock Strahd if you can't beat this adventure. So please submit a ticket. High priority. Sorry, Sean. All right. Item-wise, we get self-damage because she's a DPS. We get boost the effect of the Who Am I ability. We increase the damage of Amuse or Revenge, so this doesn't increase the speed effect, just the damage. This increases the damage of Nahara's attacks in her Form of Dread, which is basically like ultimate damage increase, but because it's just boosting her damage, you get even more damage. So this is nice. You can just basically consider this a boost to her damage, but it's only on when she's in her ultimate form. And then ultimate attack cooldown. Feat-wise, of course, you're always going to see self-damage on a DPS. We haven't not seen that ever. You're going to get effect of Who Am I. You're going to get damage of Amuse or Revenge. And you're going to get some stat feats. So strength, 10. Strength 10. That's Zariel. Okay. So strength 10 is, I'm like, which one is that again? That's Zariel. So strength 10, wing push-ups. That's good. Wing push-ups is gonna unlock Zariel for her, so you can use her in Zariel stuff. Constitution 2, that's gonna take her up to 14. That's gonna qualify her for Vajra. So she qualifies for Strahd all the time. And then she has feats to qualify for Vajra and Zariel. She is neutral, so she will never qualify for Mert. Never qualify for Mert. Okay. On we go to Valentine. Valentine joins us from the Black Dice Society. Folks. Yeah. Look, they're like, hey, we've got a lot of Black Dice Society people we haven't added to the game yet. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay. Valentine is a reborn half-elf, so died, came back again. Sorcerer, support, and gold find, though, this time around. True neutral. I know it just says neutral, but a lot of D&D, older D&D refers to that as true neutral, because it's basically neutral on both alignments. Base attack, Mind Sliver. Magical attack. Valentine attacks a random enemy with a mental magic attack, which deals damage and has a chance to stun. So, you know, a little chance for some crowd control. Trigram, the aberrant spirit in Valentine's brain. Okay. Telepathically reaches out to the other champions. For each positional formation ability affecting Valentine, she increases the damage of all champions with the DPS roll by 100%, stacking multiplicatively. That's a lot, folks. This is, if you've ever played around with Artemis and his observation and how he likes to observe off of DPS, positional formation abilities off of DPS, or Archon to a lesser degree in his bulk up or usurp. This is the support, kind of the support version of positional formation play. So this is you want to use Valentine when you have a lot of positional formation abilities. You want to make sure she is getting as many of them as possible, and then she will increase the damage of DPS multiplicatively by that number. She has this nice little champion overlay. That's all the arrows pointing in. She's currently receiving 2 positional formation abilities. So with 2, obviously we're not getting a whole lot of bonus. So along with my post-stack bonuses and multipliers, I'm at about 8,000%. That's not horrible. That's a nice little bonus. But this is going to go up and up and up. So let's give her another. So now we go 3. Now we're at EO4%. So the more you can give her, the bigger she's going to buff your party. You want to build her into a party that has positional formation abilities. That's her thing. Now that being said, even though Artemis and Archon like those types of things too, she doesn't work well with them. I think she'll work with Archon when he's in his bulk up form. But she doesn't really do anything in his usurp, is my understanding. And Artemis, not so much. They basically didn't want to create a situation where it's like, oh, Artemis is kind of already mathematically broken with lots of item levels and positional formation abilities. Let's not add a champion that breaks it further. Let's not do that. So Trigram, lots of positional formation abilities, but you get this cool graphic to help you out and tell you. Now, keep in mind, these positional formation abilities can transfer all kinds of things because she's giving it to the DPS as well. I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate a fun little feature. This is also a member of the Black Dice Society, Tatiana, so you're going to use them quite a bit. If we find out Tatiana turns one of these, there we go, turns this spot blue, that means that's where her buff is. And you would put your DPS on that buff, right? Or you would choose one of her specializations to move it around and put it in other places. But you can leave your DPS wherever you want, and you can put Valentine on that buff, and then she shares it with all the DPS. With all of them. So it doesn't matter who I put in as DPS. I put Lucius in back here. I can move Lucius around. He's going to get that buff. Because Valentine shares those buffs with everyone. We're going to get to that here in a moment. But this is important placement information when you're looking at our friend Valentine. And that's this socialite ability right here. Valentine duplicates any positional formation abilities that are affecting her to champions in the formation with the DPS role. If the receiving champion already has the ability is boosted by an amount. This happens after Artemis's observation ability. This is why she doesn't work great with Artemis. Is a little better, but with Artemis, but it's not like amazing. You want to ideally. This is another layer of formation queuing, like your queue for how you're going to lay out your formation. You ideally want all of the positional formation abilities hitting Valentine. You also ideally want them all hitting your primary DPS, because if you can do that, you're going to get the best of both worlds. Just know that you at least want them all hitting Valentine, because she'll pass them on to the DPS. Ultimate attack, Arms of Hadar. In the arms of Hadar, fly away. Inky black tentacles. Nope. It's not that song. Erupt from Valentine's mouth and hands. Ooh. Targeting the closest enemy and those around it, dealing damage and stunning them for 4 to 8 seconds. While stunned, they take an additional 1,000% of damage from all sources. Once again, this is a I want more damage button, but this really only works on bosses if you're not insta-killing them. This just boosts like Nahara's damage all the time while she's in that form, but this is only going to boost whoever is stunned while they're stunned. So this is a good ultimate to hit against those tough bosses. 4 to 8 or 48. 4 to 8. Yes, 4 to 8 seconds. 4-8 seconds. There we go. A life of leisure. Valentine increases the formation's gold find by 100% for each positional formation ability affecting her, stacking multiplicatively. This isn't... You're already building her to receive as many positional formation abilities as possible. Just know that along with damage bonuses, it's also gonna get you more gold. Specialization choices. We can go All Hail the Godbrain, My Loyal Bodyguard, or Family Business. All Hail the Godbrain. Trigram's pre-stack damage increase is increased by 25%. 25%. So this is going to boost the pre-stack damage off of Trigram's ability. This is the positional formation ability. It is my understanding that people that enjoy math in this community have done this math and had a good time doing it. Cheers all around. And they state that you don't want to choose this unless you have 10 showing up as her number. So I have 2, so I wouldn't choose that. If I had 10, then this becomes a better number. Otherwise, you want to go with... Like, if you're running Valentine, you want to go with Valentine. Or, if you're running Tatiana, you want to go with Loyal Bodyguard, because this boosts Faithful Friend. Or if you're just running Gold, you would want to run Gold. But if you're not running Gold and you don't have Tatiana, then you could still do this, I guess. But it's not going to be like a huge number compared to Loyal Bodyguard if you have Tatiana in the formation. That's the big comparison. If you have Tatiana in your formation, you need 10 PFAs to pick this and have it be the better number. If you have Tatiana in the formation, you just want to do Loyal Bodyguard if you're under 10. So I tend to run Loyal Bodyguard most of the time because I'm usually running a full Black Die Society in Strahd lately. If you are a newer player and you have a decent number of PFAs and you just want to make some extra gold, you don't have Tatiana, Yeah, run family business. Make that extra gold. The reason is because if you're not someone who's leveling your champion up to the point where they can't get any more upgrades, then the extra gold is actually going to provide you extra power. Because you're going to make more gold, you're going to be able to run, to be able to upgrade them more often, and your formation's going to do more damage. So newer players who aren't soft capping their champions, just go ahead and run family business to get more gold, to get more upgrades. This is the same thing with Jarlaxle, folks. If you run Jarlaxle, you just always run Jarlaxle as a newer player in his gold find spec, because the damage spec is outdone with one upgrade to his damage. So you run the gold because you get upgrades for everybody. You get more upgrades for everybody with gold. So we're gonna run Life of Leisure here because I don't know, because I never pick it, so I'm gonna now. And that's a good enough reason, right? And that's it. That's all her stuff. Item-wise, damage all champions, but then we run into specific stuff, which is nice. She has a lot of very specific bonuses. She gets a Trigram bonus. She gets a Socialite bonus. She gets a Life of Leisure bonus. So this is Gold Find. These are the damage. She gets ultimate attack damage and ultimate attack cooldown. Feat-wise, damage all champions. She also gets straight-up Gold Find bonuses, which is nice. She gets effective Trigram. She gets effective Socialite. So this is, now keep in mind, this is the spreading one. She does get effective Life of Leisure, which means if you don't want to straight up, if you're running Gold Find, you would do like the 25% and the Life of Leisure, right? And then we get an Intelligence 1. This qualifies her for Strahd on her own. Remember, Nahara can bring her in without this, but if you just want to use, if you don't have Nahara and you just want to use Valentine to Strahd, Int 1. Strength 1, again, that's Zariel. That's Zariel. All right, how are we doing, Nika, on your search for the crown? We're at 1426. All right, Dob, what's up? Let's talk about Dob, baby. Dob joins us from the Black Dice. No. Job joins us from the Oxventurers Guild. Half-Orc Bard, Support and Gold Find, Chaotic Good. Dob's friend Egbert arrives this coming Wednesday, if you're watching this live. Dob's basic attack, also a magical attack. Hey, all 4 of these champions have magical base attacks. Thunder Wave. Dob leaps to the closest enemy and attacks with a wave of thunder, knocking them back. Dob is a traveling entertainer. He increases damage of all champions not next to him by an amount. So basically, you don't want Dob here right next to your DPS. Dob can be anywhere else that is not next to your DPS. Just don't put Dob next to your DPS. That's all you got to know. Busking. Dob increases global gold find by 30% for each champion next to him, stacking multiplicatively. So Dob wouldn't want to be back here with only 2 adjacent. Dob would want to be here with 4 adjacent. That's going to get you the most gold find. People refer to Dob as Paulton 2.0, and that's because these 2 abilities are Paulton's abilities. Paulton does similar stuff. Has similar placement effects, boosting other people's damage. It doesn't work exactly the same, but Dob is definitely, if you've used Paulton before, then you know how to use Dob. Offshore accounting. This is the ability that scares new players and makes me super happy. Not because it scares new players. It's just that's the difference between new players and people who fully get this. So here we go. At the transition to each new area, there is a 25% chance that Dob sets the champion's gold amount to 0. This is what scares new players. He gonna take all your gold and run away with it. All of it. All this number up here. 0. Zeros it out. He takes it all. He runs off and he dumps it in a lake. It's great. When he does that, you gain deposit stacks equal to the exponent of the lost gold. What's the exponent? It's this number after the E. So if Dob were to take all my gold right now, I would get 82 deposit stacks. Dob increases both the damage increase of Traveling Entertainer and the gold find bonus of busking by 10% for each deposit stack. Stacking additively. So that means with 82 deposit stacks, suddenly I would have 820% more gold find. This is why I love it. And 820% more damage. This is why everybody loves it. And it scares, because of the zeroing out your gold find, it scares new players. But it's a good thing. It's the best thing. Because basically he's like, I'm going to take all your money, but I'm going to give you all kinds of damage and gold find for it. And the next thing you kill, it makes you even more money. That makes you even more money. Number of deposit stacks is capped at 25 times the highest area completed in the current adventure. So as you progress further, like he's going to cap out, even if he's taken stuff away, you're not going to see an increase. But then as you progress, you'll be able to go up and up and up every time he sends more. Every time he gets more. So it's pretty fantastic. The further you can push with Dob, the better he gets. And I like that kind of champion. Specializations. I'm going to make this real easy for you. Pick the highest number. Pick the highest number. They do these numbers down here for you to tell how many people it applies to. Pick the highest one. Here's what it does. Dob increases the attack bonus of Traveling Entertainer by 100% for each Oxventures champion or champion with insert requirement here, stacking multiplicatively and applying multiplicatively. So because it stacks multiplicatively, you want the biggest number. Depending on how you're building, it's going to vary. 90% of the time for my formations, it's just befriend everybody. It's based off the unique races. But all you need to do is look down here and pick the highest number. That's it. I'm going to go ahead and pick everybody. But they make that one super easy for you. There's not a lot of thought that has to be put in it. Just pick the highest number. Do I have anything else? We got the ultimate. Dob's pretty straightforward. He's kind of a basic bard. So the ultimate, Ethelfrith's Hammer. This one's a little. Can you close, please? Can you? There we go. Dob uses the hammer to summon a bunch of skeletons to build a wall that lasts 20 seconds. Dealing damage to enemies in the way. For the duration, evil champions deal 1,000% damage for reasons best left unsaid. So Dob will build the wall for anybody, but you're only going to get the damage boost for an evil champion. Here's what it looks like. Well, the wall will stick around for a while. But skeletons and the flaming skull go away. And then it just acts as crowd control unless you have an evil DPS. Yeah, it's supposed to be 60 skeletons and a flaming skull foreman, but in the game it's 6 because they can't fit 60 on the screen. In the game it's 6. Item-wise, damage all champions. Straight up gold find. This does not boost his item. That is because his item, or his ability, is this, weird stacking thing. Could probably break. It could probably break and be way too big. So they just straight up boosted straight gold find. You get Traveling Entertainer. You get Befriend. That's the specialization. So this item buffs his specialization bonuses. Ultimate attack damage and ultimate cooldown. Feat-wise, damage all champions. You get some gold find. You get some Traveling Entertainer. You get Befriend. And you get this interesting, is the term I'm going to use, feat called Double Deposit. It increases the chance for Dob's offshore accounting ability to trigger by 100%. So this means it would trigger 50% of the time. I find when I'm doing a deep run, I don't have an issue capping out my stacks. This is because of statistics. The further I'm pushing in the game, the more of a chance that 25% trigger is going to go off, right? But if you are doing shorter runs where you're only going a few hundred levels because you're still in the early game, and that's just how far you can push, this may be useful for you because RNG just may not be in your favor. So making it a 50-50 coin flip could be better off for you in your deposit stacks.
But when you get to the point where you are pushing, 800 to 1200 areas, this feat, it just kind of doesn't really mean a whole lot. Doesn't really mean a whole lot. So just so you know, there is a trade-off there. It is really more of an early game feat. That's everything, folks. We're going to come back after the short break, and hopefully Voronika will be close to finding her crown. We'll be able to finish up talking about Voronika. In the meantime, we're going to listen. I'm going to rest my voice, and we're going to listen to the song for Valentine, folks. This is Happy Valentine's Day. Be right back.
Life of the party, torn from the grave. She never follows, she won't behave. Tentacles and pearls, she'll tear apart your world. Silvers of the mind, head on night is frail. Princess fortune pain. Fear is her domain. She's a nightmare, clad in velvet. Can't escape her in your head. If she wants it, she will take it. Twist
And I'm back. And hey, now my game is too. That's nice. We are still on our way to find the crown. We're gonna get there. 15 kills, folks. Let's watch. She is gonna change her form to her Dark Lord form, live before our very eyes. Live before our very eyes. And then we can dispose of the fool. There we go. Here's Voronika's Dark Lord form. We can ditch Dungeon Master. Sorry, DM. And now, well, it doesn't show up here that way, but now we have Produce Flame Dark Lord. So Voronika attacks a random enemy. The target is lit on fire and takes damage for 5 seconds. That's cool. I mean, yeah. Objectively cool. Now, the neat thing about this is it's not based off Nika's damage. It's 5 seconds of bud damage. So it's 1 second of bud damage every second for 5 seconds. So this is a bud-based basic attack damage. What does that mean? It means when you are pushing and you come up on an armored boss, as long as your primary DPS is setting their bud very high, Nika's also going to be able to remove chunks because she's going to be doing 1 second of bud damage for 5 seconds. So she'll be able to remove armored segments off of bosses, which is not normally something you get at your wall. Normally it's only your primary DPS or ultimates removing that. Ultimate attack is Horrifying Visage, or Visage, however you fancy you want to get with it. Voronika moves in front of the party, magically damaging and pushing back all enemies. Any surviving enemies do reduced damage for 30 seconds. So here's what it looks like. That was pretty horrifying. But this is this is a crowd control and survivability feature. So if you are dealing with a lot of enemies on your screen and your party's taking a lot of damage, you can pop her ult. It's going to push them back for a moment, but also for 30 seconds, you take less damage. So this is what's going on once she transforms. Now remember, there is a bonus because we disposed of the fool. So it's going to double calculating guidance. But that's it. She just looks real cool and has a better basic attack and finally gets her ultimate. Works for me. I'm going to dive into questions. We got a bunch that the Martin has pulled for us. I'm going to try to hit the ones for like on topic. So on these 4 champions first, if we have any of those. So give me a moment. Let me see if we do. SailNet. Is this the first time they've released 3 champions from the same affiliation so close together? To my recollection, yes, but yeah, I think so. I think it just kind of worked out that way, that was how it was going to come to the game with their release schedule. They're not juggling a lot of affiliations right now, so in the past, sometimes they've had a lot of them, and trying to fit them in, they got spread out a lot. Like, we've taken a couple years to get all the affiliation champions in sometimes, so... But yeah, these stacked up pretty quickly. This is not all the Black Dice Society, though, I want to point out. There's still 1 or 2 more. Infinite Monkeys. Do any of the 4 champions have sticky abilities? I don't believe so. At one point in time, they were moving away from sticky abilities. This is like a debuff that gets applied and then sticks around. At one point in time, they were like, we don't want to introduce any more of those because that's kind of problematic. And they actually removed a couple. They removed the sticky feature from a couple abilities back then. But then I think we've gotten one since then, so... I don't know. I don't think... I'm trying to think, like, none of these have... These are all effects based off stuff going on and not anything that sticks around, yeah. Let me see if there's anything else here for these. I mean, no questions for these tells me I did a fantastic job explaining them. Rinbad the Railer. Does Nahara's Barovian bond work for variants like a lesson in class? It's a lesson in classes. First off, because it's important. It's about classes. It's about not having a certain amount of classes. What will happen is, well, I think the answer is no. Yeah, the answer is just no. Because here's the thing. A lesson in classes doesn't restrict any, well, not the basic version. Not the basic version. Because the basic version of a lesson in classes doesn't restrict anyone from joining the adventure. It just restricts what you can put in once you're in it, and that's different. These kinds of things are about ignoring the original variant restriction. Now, it will allow you to bring Black Dice Society members into Strahd's a lesson in classes, but you'll still have to follow the one class to rule them all, one class at a time restriction. That won't go away. That won't go away. But it will allow you to use the full Black Dice Society if you want in Strahd's a lesson in classes, if you can make it work. Don't know. Hold on. We've got a druid. We've got a warlock and a bard, and we've got a sorcerer. We've got a barbarian and a druid. So you can't use. You'd have to pick either Voronika or Tatiana here. The ranger. So a lot of these are going to be fine because they're unique things anyway. But you'd be using warlock and bard here, and you'd have to pick between Tatiana and Voronika. So yeah, it will allow you to be able to use them in Strahd's version, but it doesn't get around the lesson in classes restriction once you're in the variant. That's the rule that people seem to overlook here is. All these things about bringing someone in is about ignoring the initial restriction, like stat-based or alignment-based or whatever restriction of the variant itself. Once you're in the variant, it doesn't change any invariant rules that only apply inside. About like a lesson in classes is you can only use one class at a time. Like if two people are druids, you have to pick one. You can't use both. There's also like in Split the Party, it doesn't keep those champions in. If you put them in and then Nahara gets bumped out, I mean, this isn't a functional thing in Split the Party, but there are variants where you like Bully for You. If you're doing Strahd's Bully for You and you pulled in the Black Dice Society with Nahara, and Nahara gets bullied out, you lose everybody else. Right? So it doesn't override those internal rules. It just overrides the external restrictions. I guess that's probably the best way to put it. Crispy Bacon, with Voronika's search for the crown, how does the system calculate the kills in alt use in offline mode? I mean, it's simulating stuff. It's not going to be super accurate. It's not going to be super accurate. Voronika is very much a manual play champion. You have to come in. You have to choose her. You can't automate her. You have to choose her puppet, because it's going to be one of three results and one of three options, and those three options are going to vary on every run. So even if you're doing Mad Wizard over and over again, it's going to change those three options, which means it's going to be a different champion to load in every time. You have to level her up to that point, load the champion in manually, and then you can walk away. But she's not an automatable champion. So doing it offline, I mean, if I set all that up and then I shut the game off, it's going to potentially try to calculate, but the current offline progress system doesn't calculate everything, literally. It's running a simulation and it will try to process things, but if she's not set up to track offline, then then it's not going to work. This is what the new offline 2.0 system is. The background 2.0 stuff that they're working on is for. That's going to allow them to hopefully track every ability that needs to be tracked in the background / offline. Because it's the same thing. Background and offline are running the same system. So right now, probably not great. In the future, hopefully great. Brian Work, I'm really enjoying using Vodonika and Valentine in my formations. Is there any reason not to use them as targets of blacksmith contracts or polish epic potions? I mean, if you're using them, I don't see why not. You'd want to look at, the more powerful abilities. If you're running 10 plus stacks, Treegram's obviously a target. Calculating guidance is, these are going to be nice. If you figured out a way to run a bajillion ultimates, you could hear, but probably calculating guidance. You just, it's always about, where you're going to use them. Just keep in mind they're your supports. That lets you use them with a lot of different people. So, yeah. I don't see why not. I think there's probably. I think my thing here is my caveat would be if you have not invested into like your speed champions of Briv and Human, and to a lesser extent Sentry, you might want to do that first with your blacksmithing contracts, because the thing about that with Briv and Human is that they almost pay back for themselves with dividends, right? So they have such an impactful speed ability that you'll be earning more gems and will get more blacksmithing contracts than usual, which is why some people get in this infinite loop, and I call them bottomless pits. Well, not with Human anymore, but Briv is still a bottomless pit to a certain degree. So just keep that in mind. You might want to throw some in there just to earn more blacksmithing contracts faster. If you've already done that, then sure, put them anywhere you want. Kalebas, Nahara is a rather new addition to Speed Champions. She is. Does she effectively replace anyone existing formations, or how would we best utilize her? She has an ability that is similar. Well, it's the exact same functionality as Sentries. It just provides it in a different way. She is more new player friendly because she doesn't require an item or item levels, whereas Sentry's functionality requires upgrading her item and giving it a lot of item levels. So you could throw her in addition to Sentry. I don't know that she would like if you were using Minsk or if you didn't have Briv and you were using Xander. Those are good replacements because those are garbage speed champs that don't really do anything. But she would be in addition to other speed champs, because I don't think we have a full speed champ formation yet. Now I've got her here in my speed farm, and I've got everybody else. The only non-speed champion here is Nordum. So yeah, we still don't have a full speed system. Although technically I could do Havilar back one and Briv in the front if I wanted to go super wild, but that's my Briv formation. The Briv gem farming is automating Briv gem farming is actually you have to be really careful about a lot of different things, from damage to how many enemies are spawning and how quickly, and there's all this kind of stuff, and the gold that you're earning, and it's a whole different beast. So yeah, in a regular speed farm, I feel like she's just replacing somebody that was in there as filler. Here, number 0. How good is Valentine for Artemis? She's not super amazing because she applies post-observe. And that's by design. Silly Simon, would Talon be a good choice to help keep Nahara killing and her speed bonus? I mean, anyone that's going to give you lots of damage is going to keep Nahara killing. there isn't a specific champion that's going to do that. I mean, when it comes to keeping Nahara killing, it's like just buffing Nahara the best you possibly can. That could be any champion that you have, as long as they're your biggest buffers. Talon doesn't necessarily... If Talon's your best buffer, sure. But, yeah, I don't know. Well, the Master says Valentine's currently being used in all Artemis formations for trials. Yeah, I mean, she still gives a bonus, and you're already running positional formation abilities, so you could try it, but it's like, is she going to give the best bonus? That may not be true for everybody. It's going to has a lot to do with item levels. I don't even find Artemis to be a good DPS for my account. His Artemis levels, hit item levels. I mean, I have like a 700, 689 flute. Apparently that's too low to really be good Artemis. So he needs a lot of item levels to be good. He is not good for me. He is not even first or second tier for me. He's third tier DPS for me. I need a lot more item levels, apparently. But I don't care. I have plenty of... I have like 6 different champions in tier 1. I don't need Artemis. For me. For my personal DPS tier list. Okay, that's all the specific stuff. Let's hit the general questions. Del Ramian, no, links aren't allowed in chat. That's never a thing. Randram, did you have time to watch the intro video for the confirmation that they themselves confirm negative square? I did not, but I take people's word for it. If it's said in the video, then it's said in the video. Talking about Egbert. Hulumanan, should I always spend influence until I get a warning before I end an adventure? Influence is not the word, unless you're talking about perks. Patrons have influence, and if you get it, you should spend it. If you get it, you should spend it, always. I believe what you're talking about is favor. The terminology here matters. Favor. So if I use the right word, should I always spend favor until I get a warning before I end an adventure? No. No. I mean, I see where you're trying to go there, but favor also functions as gold find. So you would stop earning gold. Like, you would lower your gold gain at your wall at the end of your adventure. So even if you spent favor and got more damage before the warning popped up, it's going to reduce your... I mean, you could try it, but what I do is when I'm on a new account, I do a run, I get as much favor as I can, I gold as I can, I reset. At the start of my next run, I level up my blessings, and then I push. So, I mean, I guess that's the same thing, I guess, if you just wait until you're at the end, but that's, I feel, less efficient, because if you're going to level up your blessings on a run, you should just do it at the beginning, because then you're going to have all that power potentially available, if you get more, available right away, and you'll progress faster through the run, because you'll kill things faster, and you'll get to your wall faster, and then reset and repeat. So yeah, I would do it at the beginning of your run. I wouldn't wait to do it at the end. You've artificially, in my opinion, you've artificially delayed your progress. Homegi? I'm a new player and don't know much. How do I get more time gate pieces? You just have to wait. Time gate pieces drop once every 5 days off of a boss that you kill. There's an internal timer that tracks that, so you can't get more. What you do is when you unlock, as you progress, you're going to unlock patrons. And each patron will sell you 1 time gate piece a week. So that's how ultimately you're going to get more. There's also a blessing that you'll earn later on that doubles the amount that drop off the bosses. So you'll get 2. And then the 2 plus the 4 patrons means you can run a time gate a week. I guess the concept is that you'll regain all that favor quickly, so it's easy to spend even past the warning. I don't. Yeah. There is one case where you spend favor before resetting, but it's not just general usage for upgrading your blessings. I stand by what I said. Upgrade your blessings at the start of your run so that you have all of your power and everything available right up front. You'll go through your run faster, and you'll be able to, and you'll get all your favor right at the end at your wall, or all your gold find at the end at your wall, and then reset, do it again. That's going to be the better situation. There's no reason to. I mean, you're getting the same amount of power. Why would you just slow down your run just to wait to do it at the end? The gold isn't usually that big. Here's the thing: the warning that pops up is a very good balance between power and gold find. Generally, the community has found that to be super functional, and there's no reason to game it. So just hop in, upgrade your stuff, take off. Just make sure you have the warning on. Make sure you have the warning on. That's make sure this is enabled. Or then you really tank your gold find. Then you really tank your gold find. Now the exception to this is forging and upgrading. Like if I'm going to upgrade a legendary item, it costs me a favor to do so. You'll see here it's an order of magnitude of favor, so EO1 of favor every time I want to upgrade an item. So what you do in this scenario is you go to the campaign of the item that you're upgrading. I keep a spreadsheet broken down by campaign, so I know who needs upgrades, and I can level up and keep things balanced. So that's the way I do it. So I find out all of the people that need Helm's favor. If Helm is my next target, I'll go run a deep push here, and then I'll Zaka farm and everything. And when I get to the end, I'm gonna have at least this much favor or more if I haven't pushed deep there in a while. And then I will upgrade all my stuff and totally and utterly tank my favor because I already did my gold find run. I already earned all my gold. I will tank my favor, upgrade as far as I can. There are minimum requirements for favor amounts for certain upgrade levels, so I'll upgrade as far as I can. Then I will reset, and what happens is because I spent it before I reset, I get it all back. Now I can see why people might think that's how you should do blessings, but early on, it is way more beneficial for you to get that power to let you push deeper and get more gold than it is to worry about gaming a system like this. Ultimately, so if you're new enough that you're asking that question, no, just get it. Get it up front when you start your run. Later on, do whatever you want. You know, it's about understanding the trade-off. Yeah. Zillows, which would you consider faster? Both Tatiana and Human are in the same slot, so I can only use one to go fast. Human, hands down. Tatiana literally has a delay. You have to sit and wait. And not be attacked. Where is it? For 15 seconds? Yeah. If she's not attacked for 15 seconds in non-boss areas with no barriers, she runs off the screen and returns 2 seconds later. So it's effectively her enemies spawning takes like 20 seconds to trigger. Human's is there instantly. With Human, you can be done with a level in 2 or 3 seconds. If you get Human high enough. I mean, Human, you have to ramp up their item level, but that's the power of Human, is that they can get you down to only having to kill 3 or 4 things per level, which you can do in maybe 3 or 4 seconds, and then you're off, and you're on to a new level. So Tatiana, I know they put speed here. I don't consider her a speed champion because you have to wait 20 seconds for it to kick in. That's not going fast. That's not going fast. I wish they would take that tag off. honestly. I think it confuses people. I wish they would take it off of her and Minsk, and well, Xander needs a rework. But the J Kid, having just unlocked a couple of patrons, I'm finding everything there is to do a bit overwhelming. Yeah. Mind sharing what you would suggest as priorities, please. Okay, so if you've just unlocked patrons, your priority is to do enough, either do enough variants. Well, you need to do enough variants to be able to get the influence to get a time gate piece every week. That's your first goal. After you've unlocked this, the ability to buy this, then you just need to earn 2,500 currency every week, either from doing a variant or two every week, or some variants, or by doing challenges each week. Don't worry about buying anything else here except your Modron component chest if you also have your Modron core. Getting the ability to buy this every week is a big deal. So the time gate piece and the Modron component chest help to start the snowball of power for your account. And the quicker you can do that, the better in the long term. So it may slow down your progress at first, getting to this point, but then your progress overall is going to be faster because you'll have an extra time gate piece every week. So you'll be unlocking champions faster. And you'll have an extra Modron, you'll have a Modron component chest a week per patron, because normally you only get those from leveling your core up, and then eventually when you get your core to 15, you don't get any more. So it's the only way to get more pipes, and more pipes is more power. So you want to get those rolling right away. Don't worry about doing lots of variants to get all this other neat stuff right away. It's not that big of a deal. And don't buy patron chests right away. Just time gate pieces, Modron component chests for a while. Use your currency on that and save up any extra that you get. Once you get to Baldur's Gate, and I wouldn't even grind for perks too much. They're nice, but once you get to Baldur's Gate, there are like 3 or 4 variants there that are super easy. Well, comparatively super easy. If you can beat the basic version of these variants, doing the patron version is a piece of cake. So they have high area levels, like complete area 400 here, but when you get to the patron version, it's much higher, and the area is what influence and currency is based off. But their restrictions aren't super bad. So like the Madcap one isn't horrible. Ragadragas crew, super easy. So tons of influence and currency here. Is it one of these? No, that's garbage. Relentless Peril, super easy. Starts out like the regular version is 525, so the patron versions are 600-700s. Yeah, those are the the Madness of Yenogu. I consider this one 200% additional damage and 200% fat. That's not a big deal. The stun is going to be the hard part here, but that could potentially be one. Ultimately, though, what you're looking at is those variants that don't really have a lot of restrictions, that are super horrible on the patron side. And then you're going to get lots of influence. You'll go from, once you can do those, you'll go from maybe tier 1 or tier 2 if you haven't done a lot of grinding, straight up to like tier 4, tier 5 maxed out. That's how much influence you'll get. So yeah, I don't worry about them I wouldn't worry about grinding lots of patron variants, because the way you want to do variants is almost reverse. You want to do the hardest patron variant you can do, like the highest area goal patron variant that you can complete. You want to do first, because it's going to grant you the most influence to spend on perks. And then you'll have a lot more power, and then you can find a new hardest one you can do. It makes patron stuff so much easier if you can wait a little bit, but you want to try to get your time gate piece and your Modron component chest first. Everything else is just, anything else you're doing is regular, events are priority. Do your time gate, natural time gates when it comes out. Do a manual time gate once you have the pieces. Work towards split the party. But all the rest of that stuff can be done, in between. Max Louise, if I open a time gate of a champion that I already have, do I still get the gold chest from completing areas and silver chests from each 100? You get the gold chest from completing the 2 adventures and the 1 variant. Every time you open a time gate, even if it's for a champion that you've opened a time gate for before, you're going to get 2 gold chests from adventures and 1 gold chest from a variant. And it resets your high water mark for silver chests for each 100 levels. So yeah, that's the whole point of redoing time gates. The main purpose of redoing time gates is to get more gear. So to grab those 3 gold chests and whatever silvers you want. And then if you do 3 time gates for a champion that you've, like retired champions or champions that you haven't done an event for, you'll also complete one of their variants for the achievement. So let's say, do you know if you have Amazon? Did you know that if you have Amazon Prime, you can subscribe to a streamer for free? I did know that. Yeah. Matnetic, should I Neris slot 12 with 7 champions already, or Artemis slot 3 with 5 champions already? If you want to do the Artemis thing, if you want to go all in on Artemis and learn and build Artemis formations, then you have to pick him up and start working on it. He needs that flute that I showed you earlier. He needs not only an epic flute, he needs a lot of item levels on it. He needs a heavy investment to become functional for you. And that's just for him. He also needs lots of champions that support him. So champions with positional formation abilities and champions who have the DPS tag along with support to be able to pull those abilities off of. So if you are not ready for that, if you're not ready to start that journey, and honestly, I personally don't think it's worth it right now in the game, because I think there's a lot of other DPS who can provide you for variety to complete things that aren't as restrictive as he is, that will work with support champions you already have. So my recommendation generally is Neris, unless you just want to do Artemis. Neris is just a plug and play support champion. You don't have to do anything except put her in your party. Xanthfan, am I just very unlucky, or do silver chests not count for the open chests with loot for Aroas champions? Regular silver chests would never do that, because regular silvers don't drop gear for the Heroes of Aroas. The Heroes of Aroas are event champions. Regular silver and gold chests drop gear for non-event champions. So yeah, that would never work. What would work is Electrum chests. If you pop Electrum chests can drop gear for any champion that you own. But this requirement over here, we're talking about the season stuff. This milestone quest that says open 10 chests that contain gear for an Aroas champion is worded poorly. Kind of, in the way that we think of things. It needs to be get 10 pieces of gear for an Aroas champion. Because if you open 100 Electrum chests, but only 2 of them drop gear for an Aroas champion, you're only getting 2 credit. You actually have to get gear for the champion for it to give you any credit. That's why, some of the rewards here are, season chests. These will count to it, but there's, on the free-to-play path, there aren't enough to get all of these. So what I'm going to have to do is run time gates. I'm going to do this complete 5 time gate things. I'm going to run an Aroas time gate and get a bunch of silvers and knock a lot of that out. Yeah, but Electrums will do that. If you are a new player who has just obtained that specific champion, an Aroas champion, you can open Electrums and you'll get a lot of credit for that quest because Electrums will focus it. It will focus it. Niscus, I don't know that that's... Yeah, I've heard that if right now there's a bug, if you open in bulk, but you have to at least get one item to drop to trigger it. But I haven't confirmed that. I have heard that rumor. That's a bug in the player's favor. I don't know if they're going to fix that, but yeah. But you still have to get the luck of triggering that one, at least one item dropping for that champion. Guandonalus, do the mobs that Tatiana grabs count for stacking champions like Zorbu? Absolutely. If so, then how efficient would it be to use her to farm stacks compared to farming stacks on variants like Twilight Twist? Less efficient. Twilight Twist, with Twilight Twist, you... sorry, I'm looking at chat. I need to not... I need to not look at chat. With Twilight Twist, you kill... you can have 100 enemies of these undead enemies that fall down and get back up again. They get back up again every 5 to 6 seconds. Tatiana takes, again, like 20 seconds to trigger. And you would need to be the equivalent of 100 things getting up and down. She would need to pull 100 enemies in, which would require a huge item investment on her. But then again, it would still only trigger every 20 seconds. So she's fine if you don't have any variants like Twilight Twist available. But Twilight Twist, something like Twilight Twist, where you kill a bunch of enemies, they fall down, and in 5 seconds they get back up again, and then you can kill them again. That's always going to be better. That's always going to be better. Or the bird one, an Unkindness of Ravens, where 100, you kill 100 ravens and 100 more spawn. Like something like that is always going to be faster than Tatiana. Okay. We have a few more questions and a good amount of time. We have like 19 minutes left. Well, 15 minutes for questions, and we got a song on the way out. Deva86. I have most speed champions except Briv. Is it worth to use time gate pieces on getting Briv, and how long will he be useful? Forever. Briv is one of the top 2 speed champions in the game, and his usefulness forever. Forever. In fact, any of the speed champions, their usefulness is forever. Any of what I consider speed champions. Again, I don't count Xander, I don't count Minsk, I don't count Tatiana. I just don't. But Human, Briv, Shandy, Deacon, Whittle, all of these kinds of champions, their usefulness is forever, because you're always going to want to zoom through anything you can put them in at the beginning. There's going to be a certain point where you finish all the adventures, and the only thing you're going to have to do until they add more adventures is farm gems. Speed champions are how you do that. So, yeah. Absolutely. Get Briv. I'm shocked you haven't had him yet. But hey, sometimes it works out that way. TS4 is, should I wait for all purple or shiny gear before using my saved up blacksmithing contracts? You don't have to. I wait until all purple. You definitely shouldn't wait for all shiny. There are exceptions. The reason I wait for all purple is because I like to keep a power floor on my champions. So if I look at if I were to pop open a blacksmithing contract here, the lowest amount of power you're going to see on any champion is 140 average item levels. Everybody's going to be 140 or higher. I like to keep the lowest power at the same place so that I know that when I slot that, if I have to use that champion in a variant, I know that, hey, at least everyone has X amount of power or better in their gear. And so I personally don't add blacksmithing contracts until I full epic to champion, but it's very easy for me to full epic a champion. I don't necessarily recommend waiting for that for everyone. For most people, I would say wait until they're all blue. And then if you want to throw some item levels in, go for it. Usually early places to put that would be on a speed champions that have items that need item levels. So Human and Briv. Sentry to a lesser extent. Yeah, those are the places you would put it early. I don't know that it's necessary to put them on other champions early, but there are some champions who have mathematically overpowered items. So like Avrin's Mirror Image, you don't get to choose where you put your blacksmithing contract, but if you just want to dump a bunch into Avrin, it's going to pay off in power and pushing power. Otherwise, I think early on it's probably better to go in speed with Briv or Human for your blacksmithing contracts. Isaac Vi is slot 6. I'm not sure what you mean. Vi, or slot 12. Yeah, she's right here. She's slot 12. Shevik74. Mr. Gaarawarr, I am adding this part. Will you tell us the story of the old times when there was no offline progress and you had to do all adventures at normal speed all the way there and back? Back in my day. Yeah, folks. I know there's issues with offline progress. They have put a lot of effort into rebuilding it from the ground up. It is currently in beta testing with a small number of players. But yes, before 2 years ago, so for the first 3 years of the game, is that right? Yeah. Yeah, for the first 3 years of the game, when you shut the game off, it didn't do anything. It didn't keep progressing or anything. It sat on that level and farmed some gold for you, but that was pointless. So, yeah, I know offline progress can be challenging. But I guess I'm still yeah, I want it to be amazing, but I still always am sitting here going, yeah, but it used to not do anything. Renanzo, and yeah, before we had speed, I mean, Minsk, back in the day, Minsk was a speed champion because he was the only one that did anything even remotely speedy. But then we got Deacon and Shandy, and it was and now playing at normal speed is painful. Renanzo, I never started the Tiamat missions. I see 4 prismatic vials in my stash. Can you show how to start these missions? I can't show you how to start them because they're on a timer. What I will say is don't use those prismatic vials. That is very high. That's for high level Tiamat stuff. You'll thank me. Just either create a campaign or join someone else's campaign if you haven't done this yet that's normal. You can create your own normal campaign, and if you have unlocked trials, you could complete normal on your own. I would still recommend trying to do it with other people. But you could do it on your own. You just have to go try. The normal doesn't have any requirement other than hit the button. Once you've beat normal, to go up tiers, you need to use vials, but you'll want to use regular blood vials. These lesser blood vials. You'll want to save the prismatics for the higher tiers, because the higher you get up in the tiers, the more of the lesser ones you need to start a run. So these are far more valuable at higher tiers than at lower tiers. Lower tiers just use these. So do normals at first and get the hang of it, and then go from there. But if you've unlocked it, you can do normal. Busola, how to activate a prismatic blood vial? So it's the same kind of thing. It's part of it's a key, if you will, to starting starting Trials of Mount Tiamat runs. But either you're using a bunch of lesser vials, or you can use one prismatic. That's the thing. So it's more effective to wait until you're in a higher tier. Save up the prismatics until you get there. Killing Edge, if I have 70 champions, is it a good idea to use the discounted time gates to get gear for Aroas champions? Yes. To try to get them to full epic instead of regular draft. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right now, it's never been a better time than right now to fully epic your Aroas champions, because it's 3 time gate pieces. 3 time gate pieces. So please, if you're sitting on a bunch of time gate pieces and your Aroas champions are not full epic, please go do that. Oh, how nice that is. People are always like, oh, it takes forever to full epic. Well, I mean, it's going to take a while to do all those time gates, but it's half price. It's half price. Last few questions. Tyler Sama, any good tips or advice for players just starting out? You're at a stream like this, so there's a good tip. I mean, that's, hit more streams like this. Mars' Guiding Hand, weekly patronage, new game plus, and Gaarawarr's guides. I have Gaara's guide to everything on Fridays, which is a general Q&A the whole time. And then this is the tutorial show on the weekend, but it's on a specific topic each weekend. There's also a bunch of these tutorial shows on the Cena Games YouTube. We've done 100. We've done 100. I think we've done 100 tutorial shows. Oh, that was the wrong. That's suddenly everybody's like seeing my support ticket that I put in for that Irina issue. That's fine. We've done like 100 of these. I'm just verifying. We did hit 100, right? Yeah, we've done 100 of these. So there's a lot of videos. There's a lot of tutorial guides up on the Cena Games YouTube. Also, somebody linked my new player guide in chat. It's a guided tour that'll run you through the majority of the early game and dump you into the mid game, going, "What just happened?" I also have, in that should be a link to my other guides. I have over 100 guides to the game on the subreddit. That's why they have me do these shows. A null mentor, speed champion in slot 12. Is Melf or Vi more useful? I don't know. To this day, I don't think we really know exactly how effective Vi is. Because her speed ability is somewhat confusing. Somewhat confusing. I think there are people who've probably done math tests with stopwatches and stuff, and have probably figured it out. You can check in the Discord and ask around. Melf has a random speed ability. Every 50 areas it switches what it does. So his usefulness varies. And if you have Deacon and Whittle, potentially the most useful of Melf's speed abilities isn't even going to really matter much. So neither of them are super useful. I tend to run Vi in mine just because I have Deacon and Whittle already. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question because Melf and like Vi is just Vi is a conundrum wrapped in a riddle. Unfortunately, Valdemar Night Road. Not a question. Take 5. Favorite's Most Wanted are great variants right now. For just as cool variants or for patron stuff. I need context. Dirty Pool with rework of Heroes of Erois. Does Nova take the top buffer from Avron? That's always subjective, first off, because it's going to depend on your gear. People who have mega invested in Avron are probably never going to see Nova take over. I have not run that particular test. What I will say is Nova is now more competitive because as a drop-in swap, because before you had to run Nova from Area 1 or as soon as close to Area 1 as possible, and then run her for 1,000 levels to compare with a decently geared Avron. And that's not usually how things worked. So far more useful. I don't know about top buffer is just going to be really subjective to your account. Really subjective. I think she's going to probably be better. Well, in a full Heroes of Erois formation, she may well very very well beat Avron. If you don't have a lot of gear on Avron yet, yeah, probably. Again, it's really subjective. Always try it out. Here's the thing, folks. Whenever you're like, which one of these is going to be stronger? Go to your current wall and swap them in and out and see. Like, adjust your formation to include them and see what happens. It's always going to be based off your subjective experience. That's why when I was saying I have a tier list, a personal tier list of DPS champions for my account, I mean that. I mean it only really works for my account, because not only are my gear levels going to be different than everybody else's, but I have my legendary items in different places than everybody else. And that affects, legendary items have a lot of power. So it really is true when I say it's going to be different for every account. There are some mathematical certainties that certain champions, given enough item levels, are always going to be more powerful. But when I say given enough item levels, that means you have to have invested not just hundreds, but in some cases thousands of item levels into these champions. So yeah. LA 1973, does a reset count as a complete? Yeah, if you're just, that's anytime you're doing this, completing adventure, or if you're using a Modron reset, that's what it's doing. It's just automatically completing for you. So yeah. Riffraff, did they replace all new champions with the seasons? No. They paused because it was the 5th year anniversary. They paused events to drop lots of content on us. But this coming Wednesday, High Harvest Tide Year 6 begins. So there's still 17 events a year, one every 3 weeks. We get Egbert from the Oxventures Guild. The final Oxventures Guild member arrives Wednesday. There's a blog up about them. All right, folks, that's it. We're going to head out with, I think this is the original version, the acoustic version of Strahd's Drop of Time. No more streams for the weekend on this channel. However, in about an hour-ish on my channel, Twitch TV/Gaarawarr, spelled like it sounds, we're going to be playing more. It's a Guybrush Threekend. We're going to be playing more Monkey Island games. Specifically, you see my little friend over there, just hanging out in the corner, barely on camera. It's a Guybrush. That's Guybrush Threepwood. That's the voodoo doll of it. We're playing Monkey Island 2, LeChuck's Revenge. And when we finish that, we'll move on to the next Monkey Island game. So we're going to be playing that all day today and all day tomorrow. So come join us. It's going to be a ponderful time, because that's what the Monkey Island games are. Monkey Island, TM. Yes. So have a great weekend, everybody. Bye.
Trap the heart, cage the doubt. I was blind to ever think that you could be the one for me. Now I see. Take the light, rain the blood, seal the path, drink the blood. I will take your fate into my hands and fulfill my destiny. Soon you'll see. Soon you'll see. With the dying of the light, it will be my time to rise. I'll be waiting for you till the stars don't shine. In this misty shrouded land, on a tower I will stand. Eternity is just a drop of time. Cursed by love, cursed by you, bound to yearn for a heart untrue. I'm the darkness in your soul, I am the land beneath your feet. Come to me, come to me. With the dying of the light, it will be my time to rise. I'll be waiting for you till the stars don't shine. In this misty shrouded land, on a tower I will stand. Eternity is just a drop of time, drop of time, drop of time. As the walls within you roll down my soul, you've been mine, you've been mine. We will reign upon the dead and both be whole. With the dying of the light, it will be my time to rise. I'll be waiting for you till the stars don't shine. In this misty shrouded land, on a tower I will stand. Eternity is just a drop of time, drop of time.